So, what are the four key roles for a worship leader? I asked Todd Sturgill this question, and I loved his perspective based on both filling the role of a worship leader and then leading others who fill that role. So, check it out and start thinking about what your answers would be. In your mind, you're taking a shot at this with some thoughts about what those four roles may be from things that we've listed.
Yeah, no, for sure. Um, when this was a great exercise for me to do, just to
Yeah.
really look at those things because you do find yourself doing so many different things in so many different areas. What are those four kind of key things? Um, and this is kind of what I came up with. The first thing is that I I am to pastor my team.
Yeah.
Like that's first and foremost, I'm a pastor.
Yeah.
Um, and that means a lot of different things. I mean, that's just a very wide range of things, and it's not like that it happens just in a moment or just in a 30-minute segment. I mean, you are pastoring your team all week. That's your
Yeah.
main job. And this is what I have found. I have found that if you truly pastor people, they are going to they are going to run through a wall for you.
Wow.
So there are people that are on my team that have been on my team for the whole 27 years that I've been here. I I mean, a lot of people that have been on that team in one capacity or another. And I can point back to those folks and I can point back to different situations when I was here for 5 years and my guitar player Gary Baxter, had an issue with a family member, and I was there for them, and we went through this process, and over and over again, you've been there for somebody, and then they're there for you, and then they're there wanting to help and make sure that they're making the ministry better and helping you make the ministry better. Like another lady that was on my production team, her father went and had a heart attack, and she called me like it was midnight, and I immediately went, and I went to the hospital and was there with her during that time. With her mom, the same type of situation. She would run through a brick wall for me. It's just
Yeah.
you are there for people. You help pastor people, and you show you care, and they're going to help you in accomplishing all the goals that you have for your ministry and the things that you want to do. But most of all, you're just being there for people. That's our main job. I mean, we're pastoring people. We're here to help people take their next step, help people, find God, help people grow in the relationship with Jesus. And that's just not the lead pastor's role. I mean, that
Yeah.
is all of our jobs that are on staff at a church to kind of help people do that and take their next step. So that's kind of the first thing. The
Yeah.
second thing that I think is to be a creator. Like one of my jobs is to create things, to create experiences, create what happens on Sunday, to be able to see that. I need to. I'm taking people on a journey on Sunday, and I need to be able to know where that journey is going to end for the most part, so I can navigate people through that. And so you're creating that experience even before it happens. Yes, we're leaving room for the Holy Spirit, and we want God to move and however He wants to move. But I got to be able to see that. I know how a song is going to end. I know how this is going to end. I know that we're going into the message, or we have a video, or we have this, and I have to tie all those things together. So I want to create an experience that's going to help people, connect with God, those that are far from God, and then also those that have been believers all their lives. So
Yeah.
that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And so to create something like that, it takes some time and some energy and some focus.
Yeah.
And so we got to be able to create. We got to be able to see and
Mhm.
form things in our ministries. So I think that's one thing. And creating is a lot of different things. Writing
Yeah.
music, you can do a lot of different things there. The third thing is you got to be um, a builder of your team and a recruiter of your team.
Yeah.
Like this is a big deal. I mean, some places you can just people are going to come and you're beating them back with a stick because everybody wants to be on your team, but usually that's not the way it happens. I mean, you got to be able to recruit. You got a lot of positions you got to fill every week, and Sundays come at an incredibly regular rate. I don't know if you know that or
Yes.
not, but it's like you turn around Sundays here again, and you got to have people to volunteer and to do all the things. So you got to be building your teams, recruiting more people for your teams, and just helping that go forward. So you have to be that. That's a huge part of the job.
Yes. I
And then
think
the
what
last thing.
One thing there, Todd, I think the
Yeah,
one thing that's really interesting, even as you say that, is that, I mean, first of all, you already said two things that are very much about team building and caring for people, pastoring a team, building a team, and just that coordination there with the creator side is that just both sides. I think sometimes people can be like, but how do both of these things happen? I'm a
sure.
creator, but I'm
Yeah,
more like the art part of it. Whatever is just seeing, even just listing it out there, the critical part of
yeah,
both sides of that. Of it is very important to create, but that creating can only go as far as the people who are going to carry it
for
forward
sure.
and do it. And so yeah, I really like seeing that. That's interesting. So go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and then the last thing is the importance, I think part of my job is to support the lead pastor. This is to me so huge, um, especially in smaller churches or mid-sized churches, but even in large churches. That role or that relationship between your lead pastor and your worship leader or your person that's over, what happens in the service is so key, because you two are really leading what happens in all those experiences. And if you guys are not on the same page, if if I'm not trying to make sure that I am um, having an experience that he wants to have, or that ties in with his personality, even, or his the way that he wants to have a service look, if I'm not going along with that and helping him do that, then I'm working against him.
Yeah.
And so often that happens to where you have a worship leader that has his own mind and idea of what things should look like. And then you have a pastor that it's totally different. And that might be age, that might be style, that might be a lot of different things. Maybe they just don't connect. But if you don't connect with your lead pastor, senior pastor, you really need to look for a place that you are going to be able to connect. So either you got to make an effort and find bridges or ways that you can connect and get on the same page with your pastor, or you really need to be looking for other places that you can find somebody that you can do that with, because it's not gonna have the fruit that we want if those two relationships are not in sync.
So you heard Todd's perspective. Now I want to hear yours. In the comments below, let me know what you consider to be the 4 key roles for a worship leader. This clip was actually part of a larger conversation that Todd and I had about the role clarity for worship leaders. I actually have created a reflection guide to help you find your answer to what you consider to be the 4 key roles for a worship leader, along with some reflection and discussion questions. You can find the download information in the description below and use it whether you're someone who's hiring or leading a worship leader. Maybe you are a worship leader or think that's a position that you would like to have and want to get some focus about the areas that matter most. More than anything, I know that role clarity can be revolutionary for those of us who feel pulled in 100 different directions. So I hope you find some value in the guide and in the other videos on the channel.